We can't use that.
We can't use that, Bruno.
Welcome to the as of so far called Bear and Frosty chat, because we can't think of a better name. If you got one, give us a shout.
Yeah, leave in the comments down below. It'll be cool.
Go on. We are here today to have a wee chinwag about a few issues in gaming, but also some news. But before we do, let's find out what you've been up to this week then.
I'm just concentrating on live stream, a few mods that have come out like Empire 2 and that. I've been all over that, trying to not so much getting it working, but getting out loads of tutorials, etc. Trying out some gameplays.
I was gonna jump in on that.
Good and frustrating. Yep.
I know you've been doing the reviews, and I remember you were saying, sorry, not reviews, the guides, and you were saying to me that a lot of people have been asking, how do you install this mod to begin with?
Yeah.
How harsh is it compared to, using Steam Workshop, just download and run?
Well, now I've got used to it. It's easy for me. At first, I think it weren't so much that it's so difficult to download and install, is more of the direction I was getting from the people to install the mod, if you get what I mean. I don't know why, but I went through one progress, like a FaceTime with the creator. He told me to do it this certain way, and it worked. I tried it another time, it didn't work. I don't know what I was doing wrong, so it was a lot of frustration there. So I worked around it, and then just one day it just, boom, it clicked, and I thought, you know what I mean? After about 2 days of frustration and should I just give up on this because it's doing my Sweden? It just clicked, and now a lot of people have been asking for it, and it's worked out okay. So I've got a few tutorials on that. So if you guys want to check them out, that's entirely up to you. And the mod at the moment is still a little bit unstable, especially the VDM version. So I'd stay away from that. The no VDM version is a little bit more stable.
When you're saying
to a certain
unstable,
degree,
what are we talking about? We talking crashes? We talking like bugs and glitches?
Mostly crashes. I haven't seen many bugs or glitches. Majority of it, my main problem with like when my Scotland campaign I'm doing now is it's just crashed. They won't load up the saved game. So I got to 109, turn 109, and it's crashed. But I'm not the only one who've had that problem. I've gone onto the Discord. There are other players there who've had the same problem. There hasn't been no update to that yet, but as far as I know, the creator have sent the mod off to this certain guy, Lord something, but apparently he's really good at modding start positions, etc. This, that. Okay. And so he's waiting on that. So it's just a waiting game. I think there's a lot of potential for the mod, and that's why I'm enjoying it. And so it's decent, but like I say, you'd always take a risk with modding, don't you? And it is a beta. It's not out on ModLib yet, so it is on the Discord. If you want to get on the Discord's on ModLib, and it is in the downloads link there, so it is available for download. But it does say beta. So, but I just play it, test it. It's just going to have to be kind of like swings and roundabouts at the moment. Kind of play it. If it crashes, I'll try and fix it. If it doesn't, I'll just have to start anew. What about yourself?
Well, I was just going to say, because I had a look at that. I had a shout out from a chap called Jay when I was on stream. He was saying to give it a butcher's. And yeah, when I was looking it up, there was so many people saying, like, how do you install this? And as you said, crashing issues, but you never know how many of those stories are people blowing it out of proportion. But if you're saying that is a genuine problem.
Yeah, well, I got, how can I explain it? I've had the problem. I don't know if it's to do with just the fact that it's Scotland and it is actually in the vanilla game, it's not an actual playable faction. So, maybe there's some tweaking that needs to be done there. Other people have played on the no VDM version. Now, when I'm talking no VDM and VDM version, what I mean by there is the VDM version, it adds extra events, etc., into the game, such as hurricanes, disease, or a matter of other things, okay? Like smallpox and stuff like that in the new world and stuff like that. The no VDM, it doesn't have any of those events. So that's the difference between the VDM and no VDM version. But then other players then have been playing the 2.3 patch, say as the Kingdom of France, I've seen on the Discord, and they've got all the way up to 256 turns, and it's still going sweet, you know. So it's kind of,
Hit and
you know,
miss,
maybe it's
really,
a bit of hit and miss. So whether it is to do with the save game files, because there's been speculation on the fact that you've got to save it as no letters or no numbers or periods or anything like that. It's got to be no Roman, Latin. It's got to be done in Latin. So Roman numerals. You save it in Roman numerals, you shouldn't have the problem. But
like
because
some
of
arcade code going into save it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, but I didn't do that. I was just auto-saving, so I don't know if that's the issue, but I can't go back now and go back because it's all on auto-save. I haven't made a manual save, which was my fault, obviously. But on the next campaign, before every end of every, say, couple of turns, I'm going to make a manual save. Just so I can go back maybe a turn or two and maybe sort out the issue then. But cross that bridge when we come to it. Just taking it like water off a duck's back. I'm not going to get stressed about it. It is what it is. It's nothing I can do about it. So, yeah.
That's fair.
What about you?
Fair. Go on. Yes, lately, well, for those who follow the stream, I'm back. I finally moved jobs. That was manic. But because of that, I'm back. I've been doing lately just released Old World, and here is the Aegean, two brilliant games coming over to Steam. Of course, Old World's been over on Epic for a while now, but here is the Aegean's just being released 19th of next month. And yeah, really surprised. 4X gaming with a narrative-driven focus. That was, yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be interesting. I figured it would be really wordy and over-texty, but kind of blends it.
Yeah, not too much, not too little.
Minus tutorial. The tutorial's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And I fully said that throughout the review. Like, the tutorialization of this game is one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah?
And, oh god, yeah. Even... Right, so I played it. I've played 4X. I'm not a master, but I know what I'm doing. And I figured, okay, what do I need to know? I need to know additional, you know, what makes this game unique? Is there anything different or special about it? I had to wait until a screen came up saying hold shift. Yeah, I think it's hold shift, left shift. And you can hold up panels. It will stay on the screen so you can scroll over and look at the words.
Right,
I had to go onto that to see what roads do. Because it's like, well, they probably make you move faster, but it turns out they also give you money. But you don't need a road, you could also connect it to open water, so it's... If they'd said that in the tutorial...
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean, yeah. So it's like kind of a better roads, better trade, better money sort of situation kind of thing, like, is it?
But then, of course, that's, as I said, that's coming from someone who kind of knows 4X. I then handed it over to someone who's never played a 4X. And they didn't know how to click. They couldn't end turn. I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, you just left click, then right click. Like, right click? Ah. At no point had it actually said to do that. And I know that it, like, for a 4X gamer, you're just thinking, well, of course, that's how you control strategy games. But it should be in there. That should be in for someone who's never played one before.
Yeah, well, 100%, isn't it? Because little features like that can be quite frustrating, and especially if you are new to the game, and you know, you're just pressing your left click button like hell, and then that's all you need to do is press your right click. I suppose that can get very frustrating and kind of get you to bugger off the game. To be honest, thinking, oh, it must be bugged, it must be anything like that. You know what I mean?
Well, it is an interesting one. I think I'll start a bit of a chat at some point as to. When I was a kid, I can remember it didn't tell you to do that, but you pressed everything and anything because you're a kid. You don't get deterred. You want to play it.
Yeah, you want to play it. Right, this does that. Right, what does this do? What does that do? Right, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? You're playing like was it? I used to play track and field with my cousins, right?
Track and field?
Track and field, yeah. It was just like a little competition, with this sprinting and stuff like that.
Oh, so literally track and field, like sports events.
Yeah, sports events, yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
I used to have to press like X and circle really fast to run, yeah. But I used to put a sock on my hand, right? Put a sock on my hand, put the thing down, and like really fast, and we'd just be there like really fast with the sock, because of the friction. You know what I mean? And smashing it both together, like, if you've got a good figure, you could fly.
How many controllers did you go through?
I feel like, I didn't used to play on it a lot, but like you say, I used to go over, and we used to come over and, and do that. And it was fun, frustrating arguments, cheating, you're cheating. Yeah.
Well, and outside of that, I'll just give a couple of name drops just for games that were pretty darn good, and they're not the normal strategy that you'd see on mine or your channel for a lot of it as well. Got a horror game. Yeah, you a fan of horror games?
Yeah, I know.
Well, Expedition Zero. So it's survival horror. And the one good thing is you get a gun. I hate games. I hate horror games, especially when they don't give you a weapon, but give you an enemy that will attack you. It's like, just give me... It doesn't need to be effective. It doesn't need to do anything. But just give me something to hit it with, and I'll feel a little better about myself. Yeah,
Expedition Zero.
It's an interesting game. I don't want to give it official, barely approved yet, as once more, as you said, there's those performance issues. There's quite a few of them. It's bugging out and actually crashing a lot of it.
Bugs me, man. It bugs me sometimes. Why can't they just release a game? We've been over this before.
It's
I know.
Fun
just,
when
just
it works.
release
Though. Well, they've actually finished early access now, so I'm kind of hoping now it'll be a bit more stable. And last one is Itora. Itora, Metroidvania. All hand-drawn, beautiful Metroidvania game.
How do you spell that?
I was going to say literally Itora, but yeah, that's Japanese. Itorah. Itora.
Itor. Okay, I used an E, but Itora. Itora. Ah.
Yeah, a nice little.
It's kind of like the look of what's that game? Fable.
You know what? Yeah, the art style is pretty similar. I'll give you that.
Yeah, they're kind of like,
but like 2D.
Yeah, 2D, not 3D. Kind of like the Fable look. It's a 2D game.
And so that's actually a good point to jump off from, bringing those in, as these are early access, they're indie games, they are both fully released now. But as what happens a lot with indie games, they get announced, and usually if it's going to be before the game's early access, then it'll be a few weeks, maybe a few months at most. Chances are you're going to hear about it years beforehand because they're setting up a Kickstarter. So they want people to know about it to get the money for Kickstarter to make the game. Even then, we're talking 2 years, I think is the longest I'm seeing. I'm sure you could find longer than that. But yeah. But we have had information. We've had an announcement quite a while ago of Witcher, something you've been really interested in. Go on,
Love Witcher. Love Witcher. There's been a lot of how could I explain it? Let's say conspiracy then. I was going to say conspiracy. So I found out some information on this. There's not a lot of information out there, guys, okay? So it's going to be pretty basic, but I'm sure people who have looked at it most probably already know this now. But one interesting fact that I did find is the possibility, see if I can find it now. I should have really got it up. Is of maybe a multiplayer, online multiplayer. Now, I don't know in what basis that will be. Whether it'll be kind of like an Elden Ring thing, or you'll be able to play the entire open world itself, you know what I mean? I'm not too sure. They are using a new engine, so the Unreal Engine 5. They were using the CD Projekt engine. I can't remember what it's called. It should be on here. when it comes to memory, you know. But no, what I mean is, what bugs me is, you know what I mean. Release the information when you got a lot more information. Okay, because a lot of it's speculation. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of controversy over it due to the fact that some people have been saying, is it going to ruin the Witcher franchise due to the fact that the other Witcher games have been based on the books? And so they've had a kind of a focus then on the game itself. You know what I mean?
I mean,
so
kind of loosely on the books, though.
Yeah, loosely on the books. So personally, myself, I've never read the books, so I can't really comment too much on that. You know, I know a lot of people have said the books are great, and I most probably they are because Witcher is great. But me, I'm welcome to another Witcher 4, and you know, but I think it's going to be, how can I explain it? It's going to be a tall order. In my personal opinion, they're going to really have to push out all the stops. I'm hoping that they take certain aspects from certain other games, you know what I mean? So maybe, you know, it's kind of, I hope it doesn't get ruined then, you know, because it had its own unique style, didn't it? And then a lot of games were based then off the actual Witcher engine, wasn't it? A lot of further games where you looked at Witcher for aspiration, etc., this and that, you know, because it was such a loved game. So yeah, it's kind of not really much information on it other than it's not going to be released anytime soon. They have not given an actual official release date, but I
was gonna say, so for anyone who may have missed this advert, because it would be very easy to miss, it's insanely short, and we'll get to it in a sec. Basically, it's in the snow, and slowly revealed in the snow is a Witcher pendant, Witcher medallion thing. That's it. That's the whole thing. We know nothing else. It was, I believe, released in March. I've just been trying to look up exactly when they released that. But they've said, announcement, Witcher 4 coming on, as you said, it's the Unreal Engine, the new Unreal 5. That is it. That is the sum total. And immediately when I saw that, my knee-jerk reaction, oh, so Cyberpunk didn't do so well, and I think they're trying to win people back. So quick look, Witcher 4.
Yes.
And outside of that, I reckon the reason they switched over to Unreal was, I can't remember the name of the engine, if it's called like the Red Engine or Project Engine or something.
Yeah, it was the Red Project. Yeah, it was a Red Engine, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I've got a feeling they hit some issues, and rather than trying to like work through them, they just figured it's easier to go Unreal, which is fair play.
Yeah, they got to up their ante, haven't they? At the end of the day, now I would like to think that obviously at the time when Witcher got released, it was, you know, top class. You know what I mean, especially graphically, gameplay wise. You know what I mean. They weren't much in the game that I
which one? Because Witcher 1 was interesting, an interesting release. We'll say that.
Yeah, it's kind of
Witcher 2 was damn good. Witcher 3, I've heard reports that on release that was pretty buggy as well. I mean, I can't really say I got into Witcher 3 much later because it took me forever and a day to finish. Well,
yeah, but I played on it on PS4, so I didn't actually play on it on PC at the time. I was like, you know, PC, PS4 at the time, you know what I mean? Because it was years and years ago. I was, you know, well before I started YouTube or anything. So it was just kind of like my own cheeky little, my little cheeky pleasure. But yeah, and
Geralt, that little cheeky pleasure.
Epic Games as well. Open world experiences. So yeah, so it's kind of you know.
But this does bring up the topic then.
Yeah.
So as you said, this has been announced. We don't know anything really. We have no release date. Nothing's coming forth. Considering the development cycles of previous CD Projekt Red games, I mean, I was reading a very funny article about Cyberpunk saying it's been 9 years, it's almost a decade, and I sure hope it pays off for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. But yeah, they're announcing games so much in advance of anything we're going to see. And I don't just mean as in see the game released. I also mean as in we still we haven't seen a cinematic, which I hate, but
Yeah.
usually they start with cinematics, and we haven't seen any gameplay. So why?
Well, that's it, see, and so much things can change over the matter of a couple of years, can't it? Technology itself, you know what I mean? And the thing is, see, when they release a game release information about a game so early, okay, then all of a sudden it becomes, how can I explain it? I don't know, the developers work with the game, you know, get what I mean, using other technology, this and that. But it kind of makes it, I wouldn't say linear, but not stuck either, but, you know.
You get stuck in development hell.
Yeah. It's kind of like they stuck with what they got with what they got then, you know what I mean? And they you know, so I think in a lot of aspects they should play around with things first, you know what I mean? Because they, like I say, they got a tall order to make this Witcher 4, and I think, you know, I welcome Witcher 4. But it better be bloody good, do you know what I mean? Because I'll be well disappointed. I mean, I don't want it ruining the franchise for me, because the Witcher games were, you know, one of the best games I've ever played. Even though, you know, one was a bit buggy, but you know what I mean? They got better over time, you know, and then so they've just got to get better and better and better. And in other games like Cyberpunk and stuff like that, they've kind of gone backwards and not forwards. I'm hoping they don't share that same sort of that same stuff here with Witcher, you know what I mean? Because yeah,
Definitely.
but it's definitely too early. Definitely too early. You know, engine speed. Yeah, red engine. That's what it was. It was a red engine.
I just had to double check this because it just got me thinking about. Obviously, nowadays everyone thinks of Cyberpunk 2077 as being the main example of a ludicrously long dev cycle and just kind of, not doing so great. And it's strange because we appear to have forgotten that Duke Nukem Forever was a thing. And
Duke Nukem, yeah,
Duke Nukem Forever. I can't say much. I've forgotten that was a game for a while. But that was 15 years, and just as you said, technology moves on, and one of the key reasons a lot of people suggest for why that's gone so, why it went so long, in development, was that each time a new engine came out, each time there was a graphical update, they reset the game, and obviously when you're resetting the game, rebuilding it from scratch, you're losing focus each and every time because you're trying to incorporate new things into a original plan.
Yes. Well, that's it, isn't it? You know what I mean? You kind of not restarting the game again, but you kind of technically, a reset, because certain engines can change an whole dynamic of a game, can't it? You know what I mean? How certain things work, etc., this and that. So it kind of like, you know, you say it's not going to be out for the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, but so much can change in the next 2 to 3 years. Do you get what I mean? And, you know, the time the game gets bloody released, then they're thinking, a new engine's come out or new technologies come out, and they're like, oh, no, we can do it better. So then it gets
in the metaverse by then.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. It's kind of like, we can do better now. This is going to be so much better for the game. Oh, it's been delayed for another year now. We've got, you know what I mean? Or, you know, it just gets to that point then. So I think it's basically they got to just like, you know, maybe say, okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're thinking of it. When a nice bit of information has come available, and we're able to, you know, show you a great amount of the game, what to expect. Do you get what I mean? To get the hype up, then fair enough. By all means, do that. But until that day, I think they should just keep it on the down low. You know what I mean? And just keep working silently. And stop getting people's expectations up, because, you know, it gets to the point now where, you know what I mean, 2 years goes into 3 years, 3 years goes into 4 years, you know what I mean? And then it's just kind of, and then all the hype gets lost. And the time the game comes out, then people have found something else to play, you know what I mean? Or something like this. And I think a lot more of a, there's Witcher 4. It'll be released now in the next 6 months, nearly a completion. I mean, whoa, yeah, okay,
I'm glad you brought in a time frame on that, because I was going to ask, what do you think is like, because there is kind of a point where it's too long, and therefore either you're going to end up with massively overhyped, No Man's Sky is a great example of that, it just got overblown beyond reason, or it's going to dissipate, just, you know, people forget. It's been too long. You mentioned this 4 years ago. I don't remember 4 years ago, but I remember 4 days ago.
Exactly.
What do you think's like that sweet spot of not too close to the date you can build the hype, or is not too long?
I'd say in between 4 to 6 months. Do you get what I
Quite
mean?
short then, yeah.
Yeah, well, why not, innit? Do you know what I mean? Why should we have to wait around 2 years for a bloody game? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? A game that we all want. You know what I mean? Years is too long. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay. And I think it'll give the surprise factor then as well to a lot of people. Do you get what I mean? So that surprise factor is like, whoa, in 4 months, a new Witcher 4 is going to be released. Wow. Okay. Do you get what I mean? And they can bang out the information and say, right, yeah, we are ready. There's not going to be no delays. We are going to be doing this. You know what I mean? Now, wait, by saying it 2 years' time, you know what I mean? Like you say, so much can change in that 2 years' time. You know what I mean? You say, oh, you know, they haven't given a release date yet, which is one thing I will give them. You know what I mean? But it's still not going to be released for any time soon. It's going to be a few years yet. And
I will just
who,
say I would be shocked but pleasantly surprised if they did just gotta go, oh, it's released next week. What? Like that?
well, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'd
that's
be
a bit
very sort
short.
of, oh wow, cool,
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah, that'd be brilliant.
I
wouldn't
actually, I
it? Do you know
think
what I mean?
I think a game franchise as big as Witcher could probably get away with that and build up a lot of hype by doing it. If they literally said you have 1 week, get on it, I reckon it would
Well,
blow
yeah,
up.
you know.
You
Well, you
need to
can
be
imagine
big
it.
before, but yeah.
I mean, I suppose it is like, obviously, you being like a PC gamer itself, you know what I mean. You kind of got to grow with the technology yourself. It costs a lot of money.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean? So it's kind of like when new games come out with new engines, then you've got to kind of switch stuff out, you know, move stuff back in to get the best experience. So a nice little bit of time frame maybe to prepare for a really graphically enhanced game, a really open world, you know, game. I think it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Whether I would like that personally because I can think, oh, I can prepare for that then. You know what I mean? I can look at the specs of the game. I can say, right then, what am I expected to have? Do you get what I mean? I can say then, all right, then let's invest in this, let's invest in that. You know, yeah. So, but yeah, 2 years, 3 years, it's just too long. It's just unacceptable, really. I think I'd like to keep it on the down low. You know, say right then, yeah, you know, we're thinking of it. Okay, just don't worry. When the information's out, the information's out, and then that's it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Keep the information down. You know what I mean? Because people are looking every day for more information, more information, more information, and then over a matter of a year's span, it just becomes boring, doesn't it? Because it's like, oh god, no
Well,
more information,
I
no
think
more information.
actually great. I hate that we always have to use this as an example, but Warhammer 3. I mean, that was a great
Yeah,
example
Warhammer
of
3.
they like the dev team were getting barraged with when's the next hint, when's the next, you know, info
Yeah.
dump you're going to give us, to the point where they actually set a schedule. They were saying, you know, on Reddit at this time on this day we'll release the next bit.
Well, that's it. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, and they trying to keep the promises they can't keep. And you know, and they gotta account for that. You know what I mean? I'm more of a man of like, you know what I mean, I'd rather tell someone something when I know it than rather than speculate. I can help. Like I said, I try to help all my YouTube and my subscribers, etc., the best I can. But if I don't know it, I'll just say, oh, I haven't got a clue. I don't know. You have to ask someone else, or I can do my best to find out for you, something like that. But you know, we all knew a Warhammer 3 was coming out. We all knew a trilogy was coming out. So why hype it so early? They said at the beginning of Warhammer 1, there's a trilogy. So we all knew this 3 was going to come out. So I think they kind of dropped the ball there big time because I've lost a lot of interest in the Warhammer 3. I've stopped playing it on my channel at the moment, not because the game is rubbish, but the game, you know, is a lot of aspects of the game, as me and you talked about, which I don't like at the moment. It's taken a lot of fundamentals from the game, which made it an
Campaign.
enjoyable game.
It's just a campaign.
Campaign. I'm waiting for the Mortal Empires to come out, and it better not be no blimmin' stupid stuff in the campaign. Just leave it as a campaign. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of issues that need to be sorted out in that game. You know, a lot of people have gone back to Warhammer 2. A lot of big YouTubers have gone back to Warhammer 2. They're starting just to play Warhammer 2. And this is what I mean. It's kind of like, well,
You built the hype and then not delivered.
yeah, you've built the hype and not delivered. You know what I mean? And people spend their hard, you know, it's kind of like, oh, well, I bought the game now. I bought the game. I enjoyed. No, I'm saying I didn't enjoy the gameplay, etc. This and that, but it was just.
See,
It was just one big rush when it was just a rush to get things ready.
this
You
is
know what I
one
mean?
of
I
the things
couldn't.
I find interesting because it's on this idea of like they're announcing it. Actually, I'd love to know what the average is. I feel like the average nowadays is about 2 years. Like that's how
Yeah.
it feels, but I reckon it might be a little bit less than that. And I am going to remove indie games from this. I'm just saying AAA industry because they work very, very differently. But when it comes to building up that hype and then releasing in what we said last time, we were saying it's kind of like it feels like early access. So you're building up this hype forever and a day. Then when you finally release it, it's still not ready.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yeah.
creating this weird situation where it's like, I'm so looking forward to this game, then it comes out and it's not ready. So you're like, oh, I'll play it later. You spent the past 2 years building up to play it, and now you're like, oh, I'll wait till the patches are in. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's it. You know what I mean? It could be. It could be. It's like if they had a strategy behind it. For example, if a game was released and they weren't 100% on how to go forward with the game. Like for example, if like they say, all right, then we'll bring Witcher 4 out now. We'll say we're gonna release it really early, so people know. And then let's see what kind of things people comment. Let's see what kind of things people want. Do you get what I mean?
I'm not sure you can really do that with an open world. Because part of the fun of the open world is that you have an open world. And to do early access, you've got to put the walls in. So it's... I can't think of occasions where that's really worked.
Well, I'm not saying it's work, but maybe that's what... they're thinking, you know what I mean? Because they know, we've got to do something great because Witcher 3 was such a popular game. I'm just speculating on the reasons why then games get released so blimmin' early, you know what I mean? Now, the main thing about Witcher 3, with the next Witcher game, as long as it's, I want to see bigger monsters. Okay, so if you want to see, I want to see bigger monsters.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a lot more darker caves that used to scare the crap out of me when I'm going down them. Okay, the gameplay, the storyline was good. Better combat, a little bit more better combat, and do you know what I mean? There's not much they could really go.
I mean, if you could overlook the storyline, you ever played Monster Hunter?
Yes, I have played Monster Hunter. Yes, great game.
Those are some giant ass monsters and damn good combat.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like you run around the court. That's why I like Elden Ring. Like I've been streaming it on my channel. I haven't streamed it this week. I've got a bit of catching up to do on that. But you know what I mean? You can run around a corner, and then all of a sudden a dragon flies down. You ring, whoop, turn around, go the other way. You know what I mean? And it's kind of that what I like. Like I liked all the preparation to The Witcher. You know, a lot of people thought, oh well, yeah, but that's not the point. He's a monster hunter, and he's not invincible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get that he's like he's not superhuman. He's a mutant. That's it.
Yeah, he's a mutant.
He's a mutant, so he's a bit stronger, a bit more powerful, a bit more about him, a little bit of magic, but he's still got to prep. You know, one of those monsters can still wipe his ass the second he shows up. It's just gonna flick a talon and he's gone. You have to prep. You have to take the potions. You got to oil your blade or apply some flower thing to it. I can't remember. There's so many things you can do in that game to prep.
You mean you got to find out which monsters they are, what their weaknesses. If their weakness fire, is their weakness this.
Spend a whole day meditating and preparing your potion. I swear to God, the main thing I remember of Witcher was just the amount of time I spent in the meditation mode, just mixing stuff together. I have a weird thing for alchemy in games. Like I don't know if you ever played the Elder Scrolls Oblivion.
No, I have not played that. No.
I'd probably say it was the last of the true Elder Scrolls. I think Skyrim just kind of did its own thing. It did it well, but it was still its own thing. Whereas Oblivion was just simple enough that you could actually complete it. Whereas Morrowind and the older ones, good luck completing those things. But no, you had an alchemy skill, and I spent so many hours in the game just running around because you could find out what stuff does by eating it. So I pretty much ate like
Yeah.
every poisonous plant there was. I was just like, I don't care. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? You know, you need that, like you want a game that that's what I like about
You
open
want a
world
checklist.
games.
You want like a little notebook of all the things you can find. It's brilliant.
Yeah, like the possibilities are endless. You know what I mean? Like you could be walking through a forest and fall down a hole, and then you're, oh my god, I gotta find my way out of this hole. Let's go
find
through
a
this.
new herb.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. And it's kind
Herbology
of like
and alchemy, man. Get rid of the monsters. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
There's a game that came out like that, actually. Yeah, there was a game where you actually you were like, God, what was that? Came out during Steam Next Festival, and you basically played as a plague doctor from back in the day. Oh, I've got to look that one up. Did I? Oh, I might have deleted it. Darn it. Oh, that sucks. Go on, I'll have to have a look, and I'll bring it up next time. But it was this really weird game where you just went around and you found ingredients and made potions. There was combat, but I didn't understand the combat. I just spent the whole time collecting and making potions.
Yeah, just sat there brewing stuff up, like, you know. So yeah, it's kind of, you know, that's what I like I say, I would like to see stuff in games that are truly not possible. You know what I mean? My imagination runs wild with games, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. You know what I mean? So I do understand the pressure on developers and stuff like this, but they can only do what the technology serves at. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's kind of like, but it's kind of like, well, you know, I would like a medieval 3, you know, for Total War and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And there's certain things that I would love to see come out, but I've learned you've just got to be patient and just hope, I suppose, you know, is kind of like, well.
Cool, I was gonna bring this back because that may have seemed like a bit of a tangent, but it is linked in. Because, see, I'm the master of this.
Yeah.
Because most AAA games, and this is why I said they are so different to the indie industry. When they come out, it's an announcement trailer like The Witcher, which is just, this game is coming out. End. 10 seconds, done, and then, you know, year down the line, you get the cinematic trailer, which is like the sneak peek. And then maybe a year before, half a year before, you're going to see a bit of gameplay. So all the way up until there, you're in the dark. You're letting your imagination run wild, and I think this is where so much of the problem with hype comes in, because there's nothing solid to build upon. Whereas in the indie industry, so many games are found via demos. The Steam Next Festival is just a plethora of different games I'd never heard before and fell in love with, because it looked a bit quirky, but it's a demo. It's for free. I'll just download it and play it. And I never realized how many different genres I've never really gone into that I should have. I mean, Beacon Pines, a flipping virtual novel. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And there was, I sent you one because I remember we were going to play it. I'm going to have to see when the release date's out. But there's a new Warhammer 40k one, which is like an arcade shooter playing as the orc. Yep. Well, I'm going to have to look that one up. Orc arcade shooter game. Because people need to know about this.
Yeah, well, that's it. See, with me, right? I am not fussy. Well, I'm fussy and I'm not. You know what I mean? My game range runs wide. Okay. Now I love anything from car racing games, fantasy, medieval. You know what I mean? My game range is wide. I'm not focused. I'm not tunnel visioned on a certain genre of game. You know what I mean? I enjoy a lot. That's why there's so much diversity on my YouTube channel. And that's because when I get time to play games, I don't really get time to play games on my own. As being a father of 3, and do you care what I mean? And, you know, it is hard work. So the time is scheduled. It's kind of like my YouTube playtime. You know what I mean? So I like to dive into new and upcoming games and stuff like that, but I don't trust myself not to be sucked in. See, do you get what I mean?
I was just going to tag on to that. Go on, just quickly. The game we're on about, by the way, was I've got to get back up now. Orcs, Shooters, Blood and Teeth, spelt with an F. But awesome game. Check it out. It's coming out. Oh god, I can't remember. I think it's coming out this year, if memory serves. But touch wood on that one, I might be right. But what you were saying, yeah, about actually having time to play, like, I do think going into content creation is a little different because I can remember back in the day before I started this, which is sad I can say back in the day now.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
But but the only times I'd have would be after work, and because it was like I only had like a few hours, you know, I'd finish work, come back, make something to eat, and then play a game, and that was kind of it. So you end up sticking with the ones, you know, you stick with the ones you know. You stick with the franchises you like, the games you like, the genres you like, because you're paying money and you're getting rid of time that you don't want to be wasted.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, I don't want to move on to something else just in case I don't enjoy it. And then I'm wasting time on something that I do enjoy. Do you get what I mean?
And it's sad that I was thinking in terms of like big game releases when you're talking, even for indie games, it's only like 30. Oh, I'm trying to think of it in pounds. Yeah, it'd be about like £29.99 up to, you know, AAA industry was going for like £60-70 now, which is insane.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
But outside of that, the only games I really have time for is, thanks to having a commute, I take the train. So I don't know if anyone's played it, but the Shogun Total War on the phone.
I have not played it. No, my phone. I don't use it, but my phone's crap. I've had mine for years, so I'm not a.
Oh, I just spruced out. To be fair, I went and got a. I can't remember what this is. I think it's an iPhone S3 something. It's the smaller one. But yeah, no, it's like coming into time to actually play games for fun, which I think even before I was like doing the channel, even then I stuck with games I knew because I didn't have that much time and I didn't want to waste it on something else.
You have to stop you with it. I need to use the loo. I can't gameplay yet. I don't want to be bouncing.
Go.
I'll be back now. Oh.
Yeah, people just have a lack of time these days. You're always working. You're always doing something. I think it's led to a lot of people, particularly because of the price coming in as well. You can't risk it.
No, well that's it. You need as much information about a certain product as you can. You know what I mean? That's why you know, it gets to the point where it's better just to look on YouTube for gameplay, etc. I always do that. I always look on YouTube. People who get early access, and at the moment I am not that lucky to get early access to most games. One day maybe.
That's just made a question. Has like YouTube content creators, streamers, that like culture brought this about? Because they are doing early access, and some of them blooming early access. To the point I've even had to message developers before, going like, "Are you sure this is the right date?" Because they're like a month apart. Do you think maybe that's something to do with the way that they're sort of announcing this early so that they can do early access stuff to, you know, build up the hype as kind of a mutual bond, I guess?
Yeah, maybe also to get more information to an unfinished game.
Or like using the content creators as testers.
Pretty much, yeah.
I suppose depends on what, because I've never, the only thing I've like contractually agreed to be totally transparent, is I won't release before the embargo. Outside of that, like, no. I mean, I've even done it on the channel. I've said like, this game's a bit mixed because I've genuinely had mixed feelings, and then other games, for example, with Breach Wanderers, I just straight up said like, look, the game's good, but I do not agree with the way that they've set up the in-app purchases, and I don't think anyone should ever buy any of it.
Well, no, that's it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of that is down to the, you know. Yeah, I suppose I understand they got to make money and stuff like that, but at the end of the day,
what I mean is that, do you think maybe I can't see, because if you're bringing it to content creators, like, as I said, I haven't seen any NDAs surrounding, you know, you can't say anything bad about our game. Because if you were giving me early access and I found a bunch of issues, sure, I'm going to say like, well, it's early access, got to give them a bit of leeway, but at the same time, it's buggy as hell. Wait.
Yeah, this needs to be sorted. This needs to be sorted. This needs to be sorted. I mean, I figure if that's what constructive. If they look at it, they do that. They can't just turn around and say, "Oh, we'll give you this game. Make sure you hype it up good," because then actually you're lying. You're becoming a part of the how can I explain it? You're becoming part of the system then, so to speak, and you're lying to the your true followers, and that's something I don't agree with. You know what I mean? If someone subscribes to my channel or anything like that, then I'm going to be truthful with them. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be a face behind a mask and just lie for the sake of my own benefit, you know what I mean? Because that's not what I'm doing it for, you know what I mean? So if I ever get the opportunity to have early access, I'm going to be truthful whether they like it or not, and at the end of the day, and I think that's how it should be, and I think that's how games get better, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's only my opinion, you know what I mean? It's my opinion on the game. If someone could have a completely different opinion to the game than I have, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? I think people take it, some developers can take it way too much to heart. You know what I mean?
I was just going to say, because I talk a lot with developers, mixture of emails and Twitters and stuff, mostly Twitter. But when I've made a review of their games and they've gotten back to me about it, they've all just said like, oh, thanks for pointing that out, or yeah, we couldn't fix this. That's a fair review. We'll take it on board, but we're still glad you enjoyed it, because I'm very fortunate. I've enjoyed all of them. There was only one that I kind of just had enough of, and that was just because I don't like the style of game, and that was War Mongrels.
Yeah.
But no. Oh no, just an interesting little side note that I hadn't really thought about. The content
you know what I mean?
industry.
It's like the game would have to interest me as well for me to do. I wouldn't just do it on any random game. If someone says, "Oh, would you like to do this game?" I got no interest in that game, dude. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? If I ain't gonna comment on something that I don't play on or is in kind of the same bracket then as the games I play around or I enjoy, because I won't be able to give my honest opinion on that then, I'm not just going to be doing it for the sake of views, etc., this and that, because potentially it'd be a game I would like to enjoy, and potentially a game that in the future that I could bring to the channel itself and enjoy myself, I think it's just a waste of blimmin' times in some aspects doing stuff that's unless your channel is actually based on that kind of criteria where you are just all you do is critique games and this and that, as a completely it's fair game, isn't it? Or everything's open is fair game. But I suppose one thing I've learned about, obviously over I think it's around a year and a half now I've been on YouTube, that it's kind of, you've got to be quite nichey in some aspects of the game, because but still be quite experimental as well, you've got to experiment, so
I'll take it on board. I think we're going a little far off track for that one. Bring it back onto the idea of release. As I said, it's a bit of a tangent, but an interesting idea. When it comes to indie teams, as I said, I think they're bringing out these releases and gives you a solid foundation. So then, as they're bringing out more information, as they're updating, as they're continuing to build the hype, at least you have that firm platform, a literal foundation to build all of this on. You're not going to blow it out of proportion because well, they've been working on it for 2 months. It couldn't have gotten that different to when I played it.
Yeah, I get what you mean, yeah.
I wonder when was the last time you played a demo for a AAA game?
I can't remember. I really can't remember. I always look through Steam or was available, new upcoming games, I saw yourself does as well, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I'm quite Pacific and I'm not quite Pacific. I kind of contradict myself by you where I say my game is wide, but it is my game spectrum is wide, but to a Pacific.
It's a big box, but it is a box. You've closed it off.
Yeah. It is a box. You get what I mean? Now, if a game I'm going off on a tangent now. I won't go off on a tangent. What was the question?
When was the last time you played a AAA demo?
Yeah. I can't remember. I'll just say that. When was the last time you played one?
Well, I was gonna say, I think the last time I played a AAA demo we're talking all the way back when you used to be able to get demo discs.
Yep, demo discs. I used to love in the magazines and that.
Yeah. I can remember you still do. You get like free trials for MMOs and stuff, but barring MMOs, I really can't think of any other AAA game where I've been able to play a demo of it.
No, I do look. I don't know. It's just time, isn't it? It's it's
Yeah, definitely. I mean, once more, it comes down to the idea of time. If you only have so much time after work, I would much rather back then have just sat down and played the next campaign of the next few turns of Total War, or what was it? I was playing. I was going through all of Half-Life games at one point. I spent like a month just playing every Half-Life and expansion for it.
Excuse me.
Amazing.
But I'm always I'm always planning ahead. Wherever, like I say, when I finish Elden Ring now, finally, I haven't even got that far in it.
Ooh.
Treble on there. I'm thinking of the next open world game I can play, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna kind of niche my channel down to that, is where the basics are. Well, the Total War series. I'm going a bit back historical now because I have a Warhammer. Excuse me. Yeah, so it's always thinking ahead. So I'm always looking for the next best thing. This piques my interest, But when it comes to demos, I'm so picky, as well as so broad. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because
no, it's fair enough. No, it's
like you on your channel. You don't. What about open worlds for you then?
Kind of open world out these days. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, the last one I played, like proper open world. Oh no, maybe not. I was gonna say it might have been one of the Assassin's Creed, but actually I think it might have been a Far Cry was the last one. Not like any of the new ones. I think I played Far Cry 4 at a friend's house. No, they all kind of just play the same to me.
Yeah, well, that's it. You kind of, I'm looking for, when it comes to open world games, obviously I'm looking for the new best thing, but also something that's different. I suppose you say, well, how can you say different open world games are all the same? Well, no, it's kind of, so like after Elden Ring, I'm thinking of maybe
Let
even.
me put this in for an example. I would say Elden Ring and Witcher, you could make them not open world, just have large like areas loaded between. Still work, still an amazing game, no issue. I mean, technically speaking, Dark Souls is open world, but it's Metroidvania, is what I would still say that is. But no, I mean, if you go into them, the fact that makes Elden Ring good is that it's a FromSoft game. That's what makes it amazing. It's not the fact that it's open world. And the same with oh god, my brain's gone blank on what the game you said was. You
Elden Ring.
He said Elden Ring and more.
Elden Ring Online.
Oh, you mean Elder Scrolls?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
that's
Elder
an
Scrolls
MMO.
Online,
It's a different style.
Yeah, it seems, you run around everywhere, can't you?
Granted, I mean, it's an MMO. So, really, like, the main gameplay for MMOs is instances. Because you're going into raids, you're going into dungeons.
Yeah, but, like, going through, like you explained with Witcher and that.
Yeah, well, what I was going to go back to for Witcher and stuff is the fact that what makes it different, Witcher was the other. What makes it different is the story. It's not the open world. You could remove the open world and you still have an amazing narrative. You could remove the open world from Elden Ring and you still have an amazing FromSoft game, a game based on skill and combat.
Yeah, I find it hard to keep to the narrative in Elden Ring because I haven't got a clue half the time what I'm doing.
I don't know if you can call Elden Ring narrative. It has a story, 100%, and there's definitely writing, but it's like sub-narrative?
Yeah, I haven't found any narrative to it. There is narrative to it, but I haven't found any because there's missions and that to do on that basis. There is a story, kind of I think, a storyline to follow, because you obviously going after the Elden Ring. But for life of me, I haven't found it yet.
No,
I'm just
there
going to.
technically shouldn't be. All FromSoft games are based around revealing the world and the story behind it, the history,
Yeah, the
by
story,
playing it,
the
meeting
lore.
characters, seeing the environment,
Yeah,
taking it in, but also like reading through items and stuff. That also gives a
yeah, but
lot to
I'm
it.
not too. I'm not too bothered about um a main storyline. I am. Oh, I don't know, because I enjoyed it in Witcher 3. Well, in the Witcher games, but I always tend to go off on a tangent and run around anyway. I'm quite, I'll finish one area, then I'll have to go to another area, finish that area. Once
Well,
that area is finished,
we've
then
had quite a tangent here again.
it's just going to be the way it is, bro. I think we just have to get used to it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Go on, I was gonna bring it round just for the end though, because we're coming up on time.
Yep.
So, final thoughts. Witcher being announced so early, or
But
is it?
I'm excited that the new Witcher 4 is coming out, so it's good to know.
Mm.
Um, I don't know how I feel about it, see, because I generally thought Witcher 3 and that would be it. I always had it in the back of my mind, oh, I would love another Witcher game. Geralt got to be in it, though. I won't be happy if Geralt isn't in there. Even if I had to make my own character, he'd look like Geralt. You know?
Probably be NPC Geralt. You meet the
Yeah,
Elden Witcher even who trains you. But
that'd be pretty cool.
I will say, just to finish this off, because I haven't said this to you yet, if you hadn't mentioned it, I'd completely forgotten. I saw the announcement, and I had genuinely forgotten The Witcher 4 was a thing until you mentioned it.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those games that, like I say, I got a wide box, a big box, but it is a box, and you know what I mean. Witcher is firmly in that box, with a certain of other kind of games like the Total War and this and that. So when I hear of that, it's kind of like right then, this is giving me a plan now for the future. I mean, it's something to look forward to. It's something that I know that I'm going to get into. I enjoy. You know what I mean. So I can plan ahead, not just for myself, but for my channel as well. So it kind of. But in reality, um, a Witcher. That's the thing. See, Witcher 4. Is it too early? Too early to say it's coming out? Yeah.
I think you answered
Yeah.
that actually. Answered that in that section. It's people like you, people who genuinely want to know that so perfectly hits the niche style of gaming. It hits that
Yeah.
that thing you want from a game. That announcing it early is fine because you're gonna keep your eye out now. You're gonna be paying attention. You're gonna be ensuring you keep up to date on it. It
Yeah.
loses the people like me, but they also know they'll get people like me later on when it's closer and they start releasing gameplay and you can see it. So it's kind of, well, they're building up the diehards, keeping them happy, and
Yeah.
later on they'll get the rest of the crowd. Could well
But
be
then
it.
it's just, oh yeah. Well, I always get worried then. Though I get disappointed. You know what I mean? Like that's always on the back of my mind because like most games, I think, oh well, I'll play it if it's crap. That's not the end of the world. But when it comes to games like Witcher and certain games that really have, got me into gaming, it's kind of that anticipation then of thinking, oh please don't ruin this for me now, dudes.
I am a
Don't ruin this for me
firm
now.
believer in keep your head in the sand. When you first hear a game's
Yeah.
coming out, if you genuinely know you're gonna play it, you're gonna play it 100%. Maybe not buy it, but you're definitely gonna play it. Stick your head in the sand and wait. Then on the day of release, have a look round, see what people are saying.
Because I'm going to keep my expectations extremely low. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, is like when it comes to Witcher 3, Witcher 3 is still a great game to play now. And I suppose even if I went through another playthrough now on my channel, there's most probably still a lot I can learn from the game, and there's still a lot of things that I can find out about the game. You know what I mean? Because it's such a diverse kind of game. But but I'm just going to keep my expectations low. I'm not going to look every day. I'll just have a gander here and there. And as you know, when it comes to certain games, etc., this and that, it's just a waiting game, being patient. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, let's just hope all the developments have still got that passion in them to make it one of the best games ever. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, the Witcher franchise, maybe not so much Witcher 1, but how they developed the game over time is one of the best games out there. You know what I mean? When it comes to open world and this and that, So, yeah.
Well, I'm afraid to say June 16th, the greatest game that ever was and ever will be released. Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. June 16th, is it?
It was supposed to, talking about saying you're going to release so early and announcing things, it gets delayed, it gets delayed, it gets delayed. It was supposed to have been out, oh God, I think it was supposed to have been out early this year, and then it was again delayed, because that was until March, and it was delayed now until June. Yeah.
I remember making a video about it, and I was watching the video.
I played the demo. It's amazing.
Yeah, how excited you were about it. And this is what I mean when it comes to releasing information too early. Things change.
Well, this is why I think the demo did amazing. Because, going up to it, we're dragging this on, but going up to it, I knew I wanted it. I knew I was going to play it because it's Starship Troopers. I just want to build, mobile infantry and kill bugs. That is it.
Yeah.
Got the demo, gave it a play. I could do that. Perfect. I'm happy. I'm definitely going to buy this. And then it turns out it's actually not amazing, but it's a pretty solid RTS. Jobs are good in. I'm happy with that. Give me the demos. More demos, people. We need to get a solid foundation of what a game is, and then anything that's built on top, sweet.
Happy with that.
But go on, that'll have to do us for today, because we've ran a wee bit over time. I think my clock broke. So, either way, it'll have to be peace out from me.
And keep it frosty from me. See you later, guys.